Welcome to BigClasses.com and welcome to this demo, Oracle DBA. And so today we are going to discuss very common questions that anybody will have or interested to know or want to become a DBA. Okay, so myself, before I start, let me introduce myself. I have around 16 years of experience. I've worked with different companies, corporates, MNCs. I'm currently working with one corporate company. I've handled different types of projects, upgradation, migration, implementation. Okay. And I've traveled to different countries like Malaysia, Dubai, and Saudi Arabia, Singapore. Okay. I've delivered different online trainings, corporate trainings. Anyway, this was my short introduction. So how to become an Oracle DBA? Okay. So DBA is a highly responsible job. Highly responsible job. Anything which is related to database, anything which is related to a data. Okay. So whatever the information that we store in our laptop is very important to us. Same like the companies, they will have their own confidential data. So we are the doctors of DBA. We are a doctors of database. I mean, if anything happened to a database, we will be the first person to contact and make the database available for the business. So it's basically a highly pressurable, I mean, highly in demand and highly most required job, you can say. Okay, there are a lot of expectations from a DBA. A DBA would have to work with multiple people in an organization. Okay, so he will be interacting with a hardware technician or somebody who is an hardware engineer. He shall be interacting with a person who is a system administrator, one who is working on the Linux or Windows operating system. He shall be communicating with the developers, project managers, everybody. Okay, so I will show you now the success pyramid. Okay, I have drawn this based on my experience. Okay, based on my experience, I have made this syllabus, and I have made this syllabus into a one pyramid. Pyramid is a symbol of success. So at this point, if you know all these things, you should be able to get the job, or you should be a person who will be able to perform the job effectively. Okay, so the DBA, the second most question, which is the first and two questions, are very interrelated. How to become a DBA and what are the prerequisites to become a DBA. All right, how to become a DBA? Okay, we have to follow a path. Okay, the path which I have jotted down, step-by-step approach in this pyramid. Okay, a DBA job is something which requires a very immense knowledge on these technologies. Okay, everybody I know They are BTech and MCAs and MSCs, right? Or maybe some people from the other background. No matter what, you should have at least knowledge on the computer hardware. Why and why we need? Because the database is going to be installed on the servers, right? So what kind of servers? It could be your HP server, it could be your Dell server, not as a brand. Not as a brand. I'm talking about what will be the configuration depending upon the company. For example, the company may have employees from 5 to 5,000. So depending upon the business, we have to order, we have to seek the hardware. And if we don't have the recommended configuration of server for our database to install, then we may face a lot of issues. We will blame each other. I have started to install the database, but it is not meeting the requirement. The server on the hard disk have only 20 GB, for example, or 40 GB of hard disk. Then how would I be able to install the database? Okay, so it's like this. Start from the scratch, from the beginning. So start from the hardware. Okay, what kind of hardware we are going to use and what's its configuration. So what is my server hardware configuration? Especially in the hardware configuration, you have to see the size of the RAM, the size of the hard disks, what processor we are using, what is the architecture that we are using. What do you mean by architecture? 32-bit, 64-bit, or something like Spark. Have you ever heard about Spark? I don't know whether you know or not. The Spark is something, a very high-end servers, Spark servers, which is only available with the Sun Microsystems company, and now it is purchased by Oracle Corporation. Now, for a company like a 5 employees company, I would never go for a Spark, even if I have money, even I have a good budget. I would go for something like a 32-bit architecture or a 64-bit architecture. But if I have a company where I have employees or users, I'm expecting the users or customers up to 500, more than 500, or thousands in 1500, then I have to think that the type of server that I'm going to purchase, will it going to handle that kind of load or not? You see, you have to think from the scratch, from the bottom. So I will be able to give you a brief on how the RAM functions. Maybe you know already the hard disk functions. What is the role of a processor, architecture, right? Everything. Okay. Next. What's the next? Next is your overview of computer networking. You should be aware of technologies like LAN, WAN, MAN, IP. Okay. What is a host name? What is a domain name? DHCP, DNS. Okay. How to configure the client and server, what is static IP, what is dynamic IP, a few common things, topologies, network topologies, what is subnet mask. Okay, you see how important it is? Because the server will be in the network, isn't it? The server will be in the network. The server will have a unique number that is called an IP, and unique name that is called the host name. And it will be accessed. It can be or maybe or may not be accessed globally, but I'm sure that it's going to be accessed locally in the LAN environment, so that the users who are going to access these users, they're not going to the data center and work inside the data center. Are you aware of the data center? So data center is a place where where all the servers will be kept in a one air conditioning room in a restricted area. Okay, these servers will generate a lot of heat and lot of noise. So the one room will be dedicated, and that room will call a data center. Okay, and all these servers will be in the network, will be accessed all the servers data center. So there are different types of servers will be available in the data center, like you have database server, web server, application server, network server, etc., etc. Okay, so you should be aware of how to connect to these servers via tools like PuTTY, WinSCP, okay, and the database tools like SQL Developer, SQL Plus. Okay, one more important thing that you should be aware of: what are the port numbers? What is the uh, suppose the SSH? What is telnet? Protocols. These are all called protocols. Okay, or FTP. Understand? DBA should be like a person who will be like all in one, all rounder. Okay. Do you see the importance of the knowing the hardware knowledge and the knowing the knowledge in the networking? But these are all very interrelated. Okay. So next is the storage technology and the cluster software and file system. Okay. See, imagine that we are using one single server. Okay, this is one single server. Okay, let me color this. So this is the something which is a production server. That is why it is in red color. That means it is 24/7 needed anytime, because I have number of users. Okay, from 1,000 to 5,000 users can connect to this server anytime. My business is dependent on this production server. Okay, production server. If this server is down, then what will happen? You expect you get a huge loss. There is a huge loss to the business, isn't it? The users will not be able to accessing the server. It's a shame to the business. not providing the good customer service. Customers, for example, banking. If you are unable to connect to your bank online or when you walk in to ATM or trying to withdraw or deposit a check, you are unable to make the transaction. Obviously, the customers get frustrated. Or you are in America and you want to transfer the money to SBI Bank, for example, to your parents. So, to overcome this frustration, there is a concept called clustering. There is a concept called clustering. Okay. So, let me clustering. So, clustering offers features like higher availability. Features like higher availability. Okay, I'll write here higher availability and something called failover, something called switch over, load balancing. Okay, so if you use a software, a cluster software, all these features are available with a software called cluster. So this cluster software is available not only in Oracle, it is also available in Linux, Solaris, Microsoft. Okay. Any customer who would like to have these features, they can go for clustering. Okay. However, Oracle has its own product called RAC. It's called Real Application Cluster. So what is happening in this environment, in the clustering environment? If anything happened to this, all the users, okay, let's try to okay, let's do this. Let's say these are the users, different users, all of these users, when they are trying to connect to this server, let's say this is the rack 1, the first one is the R1 server and the another one is the R2 server. Okay, all of these users, when they are working on this particular server, suddenly some technical problem occur. Suddenly some technical problem occur, or you are trying to do some maintenance task. Okay, because you wanted to upgrade the RAM of this server, you wanted to um, bounce the database for some reason, or for applying a patch. It could be any valid reason, or there is a sudden heavy load, the number of users increased and there is a heavy load on this server. Okay, in this situation what will happen, all the users will be switched to R1, will be switched to R1 automatically, without knowing. The users will never know what is happening in the background. How it is happening? Because these nodes, these also called nodes, these nodes are interconnected. There is a private networking. We are using something called HBA card, which is only used for the optical fibers. So these are the HBA cards which will move fast. The data, the users will connect to the servers very fast. Because of that, how they will connect? Via this private networking. You might have heard about the network card, right? There's an advance of the network card is called the HBA card, host bus adapter. That one is the NIC, network interface card. Okay. There's one more thing that I would like to tell you, that in this box that you see here, this is nothing but your storage device. It is what? Storage device. Data is getting stored here, and this is called SAN, storage area network. Data is not getting stored locally here, locally on this particular servers. Data is getting stored here in this storage device, and this is called SAN. So as a DBA, you should know how the SAN works. What are the different types of hard drives that you are going to use here? Understood? So I hope now you realize the importance of the clustering and the storage. The different types of storages like SAN, we have NAS, we have DAS, and you should be aware of technologies like RAID. All right. So the third point is storage. So now you realize the importance of storage and the cluster software. So this course that I'm going to teach you, it's already included. The 50% of the rack will be covered. And at the each of every chapter, I will be asking you questions. You will be start preparing your CV and jot down those points which you know, and we will be frequently asking on this. You see how difficult, I mean, how vast the roles and responsibilities of a DBA. Okay, so as a DBA, you have to be aware of SAN. You have to be aware of something called RAID, clustering. Okay. Okay, now let's go to the next level. Virtualization. Virtualization, or you can say now the latest hot topic, which is the cloud computing. So can you tell me what is cloud computing, or what is a virtualization? If you can type, please. Okay, good enough. No problem. See, nowadays, whole world is moving towards the cloud. Do you think the servers are flying in the cloud? Just like aeroplane, and the satellite, are have a connection to those flights who are carrying these servers? Or any idea? No, it's not like that. It's not like that, okay? The servers are not flying in the plane, and we are not connecting to those servers via satellite, those servers in the plane. Okay, it is like the servers are remotely. For example, I've told you about the data center. Now you realize the importance of data center, that there huge investment is made towards the data center. If any company would like to have its own IT department. Okay. For example, I have a company, or you have the company of 500 employees. Definitely you have to think, you have to have your own IT department, isn't it? And to provide the resources. And you have to hire the resources that will manage your data center. You have to pay their salaries, as well as you have to make sure that whatever the hardware in the data center should be up to the mark, should be in the warranty. Because you cannot expect a loss to your business. So highly investment is required, highly maintenance required, and there is a lack of skilled people. If your people are not honest, they start leaving you, your company. Maybe anything happen, any possibility. So to avoid this kind of maintenance, to avoid this kind of headache, we have come with the world has come with a conclusion like cloud. Okay, just like we have the ISP service provider who will provide the internet, we will have something called a cloud service provider. What do I mean by that? It is nothing but a data center service provider. I will have to think only the size, what will be the size of my database and how it is going to grow in next 5 years. As the same way as I am going to plan for my local IT department for my company, the same way I have to tell the same thing to the cloud service provider, that I am expecting my data to grow up to 500 GB to 1 terabyte in the next 5 years. So I may need this much space, 1 terabyte. Cloud service provider say, okay, I please pay me $2,000 and I will take care of your data. I will provide total service. You don't have to bother about the hard disks, any hardware related issue. You don't have to bother about any operating system related issue. You don't have to bother about any networking related issue. Only thing you have to make sure that you have to have an internet in your premises so that you can access your data. Just like your Gmail or any email account, right? Are you saving your emails in your laptop? No, they are getting saved in the Google servers, and you are going to access your emails wherever you are in any part of your world where the internet is coming, isn't it? So that is the importance of the cloud. Now, in the cloud, what is happening? For example, the cloud, of course, is a big data center, and there will be a customers who will have a very limited requirement, and there will be a customer who will have a huge requirement. As I've told you, 5 to 5,000 employees, depending upon the business. For example, the cloud service provider have one big server, 2 terabyte server, and it has some 2 or 3 customers or 5 customers, and one customer has want to use a 500 GB, another customer want to use the 100 GB, another customer want to use the 200 GB. Okay, and the rest of the space will be used by the another customer. So he has how for this one for these 5 customers, do you think he's going to purchase the 5 different servers and will give you the space and will give you the connection, direct connection? No, it will be a huge loss to him if you start investing, start giving the separate servers. If you want, you have to pay for that much amount to have a dedicated server for your business. However, if your usage is limited, for example, in my Gmail, I've been given an access to store my data up to 15 GB. If your usage is more than that, you have to pay. The same kind of services will be here provided by the cloud. So the data is going to be stored in something called a virtualization. So whatever the cloud environment is purely based on the virtualization, and there are many leaders in a cloud service provider like Amazon, one of the most popular. Now Oracle also started Oracle Cloud. And here in India we have Tata Insta Compute, etc., etc. And they are free source. What do you mean by free source? There are also some companies who are offering the cloud services free of cost, where you can store your data up to a limited space. For example, Amazon is offering you to create your virtual machines up to 20 to 40 GB, I think. So if you cross the limit for more than 40 GB, then you have to pay. So our virtualization is like you are going to install an operating system on the virtual machine, just like this. I have it on my laptop. You see, this is a VMware software that I'm using. I have, see, the SAN. I have the production server. I have the Golden Gate servers. My laptop capacity is around 1 terabyte. It's like a small cloud that I'm using on my laptop. My laptop is like my data center. And in my data center, I have all these virtual machines. Are you clear, Gopinath? Okay, wonderful. So let's move ahead. Let's realize the importance of Unix. First of all, you have to know what is an operating system, how the operating system works. Why do we need an operating system? And secondly, which operating system is best for our database or data, not database. So, in the response to my question and to answer to my question, I will say Unix is always best. If you ask any corporate person, Unix. What do we mean Unix? There are different Unix flavors. Linux, Solaris, HP Unix, Oracle Linux. This could be like Red Hat Linux. Okay. So I am going to teach you how to work on Oracle Linux. I am going to choose on Oracle Linux. See, as a DBA, you have to have at least 2 Unix operating system knowledge, at least 2. I would recommend Solaris and Oracle Linux. I'm going to teach you on Oracle Linux. Now, you have to work on your own. Whatever I'm going to teach, the topics, that will be very, very helpful for you to make a stand yourself and or help yourself. I will teach you how to catch a fish. Now, after that, you have to catch your own fish and cook and eat it. Okay, my friend. So, next is SQL. Database have some language, just like we speak Hindi, English, Telugu, Russian, German, Chinese. Okay, database will understand its own. We can communicate with database, the SQL, structured query language. How to retrieve the data, how to insert the data, how to delete the data, different things. I will be covering the Oracle. It's not like that I'm just, giving you just an overview. It will sound like an overview, but it's actually will be in detail. You will enjoy. As I'm telling you, I will be sharing the Oracle University syllabus. I will give you the ready-made queries like this. That will help you to practice the SQL. So this is the SQL developer that I am using to connect to the Oracle database. Let's say so. I will try to open one file. So this is how you connect to your remote databases. You see this? This is will act like a lab instructor to you, your own very true lab instructor. Okay, you execute this query and you will have the output here. What you can do is you can open a new page. Okay, you can open a new page, or you can have a separate connection like this for yourself. Okay, and practice. Okay. Next, we are going to discuss the Oracle DBA. Then we are going to jump. So all this is will be of 2 weeks course. 1 week I'm going to cover all these things. including the Unix administration, and then 1 week of SQL, and then the Oracle DBA database administration. Now, as I told you, I am already covering the 50% of rack in this syllabus that will help you to think ahead and prepare for your future courses like rack 11G and Oracle apps. All right. So let's dive into what are the contents that we are going to learn. So this is the SQL and PLSQL, introduction to SQL, understanding the role of Oracle developer. Okay. There will be around 50 topics. Officially it is 50, but I'm telling you, you will have more than 50 topics. As you see, there are so many queries related to chapters. So teach, what do you mean by teach? No, Oracle Apps DBA, no. I am not going to teach the Oracle Apps DBA, but I teach Oracle Apps DBA. For you, I think you have enrolled for Oracle DBA. But if you're willing to learn Oracle Apps, yes, I can also teach you Oracle Apps DBA also. All right. So these are the topics that I am going to cover for the, yes, Apps DBA, yes. As an Apps DBA course, I am going to teach you. I am going to show you now what are the contents that you are going to have in the Apps DBA also. See, in the Oracle DBA topics, the first 4 and 5 topics is if you see, I am going to discuss SAN in detail. I am going to discuss ASM. This is all Oracle RAC topics, because every business now considers to have RAC. Without clustering, they cannot imagine. They cannot imagine the database without the clustering now. And if you learn the SAN, there are a lot of jobs available in IBM Tivoli and IBM's, Tivoli. Most of the companies, they will use IBM and EMC Clarion. This is the very much famous storage devices. So you can pursue, if you are willing, I'm just telling you, if you pursue and if you're interested in SAN, you can also, this course that I am going to tell you, the features that I'm going to, will be like a bus stand, where you can grow up your ladder, or you go to any destination. Okay. So then there is a ASM, automatic storage management. This is all rack related, cluster file system. So I'm going to create virtual machines like this. SAN is of course a different course, but is a detailed course, right? So, but I am for the rack, you need to know how the SAN works, right? Because I am going to create these two servers going to access the data from this SAN. All the data that we are going to store is in this storage device. You should know how the data is coming from the SAN. What are the logical volume management? How the SAN works? Everything's okay. That we are going to discuss. So in Unix, I've already see this is a logical volume management, which is a prerequisite to understand the SAN concepts. Logical volume management, partitioning, very, very basic thing, If you know the basic thing, what is a partition? What is a primary partition? What is extended partition? Why do we use? Then it will be easy for you to understand the logical volume management. If you know the logical volume management, then it will be easy for you to understand the SAN. If you know the same, then it will be easy for you to understand the rack Oracle rack concepts like ASM and cluster system. Understood? Everything is interrelated. Nothing is unrelated. Every topic is related to each other. All right. So most of my course will be real time. These are the backup and recovery scenarios that we are going to discuss lots of data file, because most of the time, yes, Linux, and if the company has a good money they want to spend, they will use Solaris, depending upon how much money the company have. But mostly the favorite operating, even the companies, they have the money. The favorite operating system is Linux. Even I love that. So that's why I'm teaching you in Linux only. And that is a Oracle Linux, not a Red Hat Linux. Now Red Hat, there was acting very smart.